Hello, friends. Welcome and namaste. Crystal Joy of CJoyYoga, and this week is Piriformis week, or so I've deemed it that. Even if you don't have any of the things I'm about to list, this is a really good muscle to know about and to try to learn how to strengthen and to stretch because it can end up causing low back pain, sciatica, pinching of the sciatic nerve bundle as it goes down. It can be part of Piriformis Syndrome. It can also cause issues with the SI joint. If it's not stable, right, the SI joint can become unstable. So, and that's just the basis, right? So, one of the main jobs that everyone puts on this, and it is indeed something that it does, right? It runs from the sacrum, flat muscle, deep in next to the hip socket, all the way over to the trochanter, femur. It externally rotates, lateral rotation. That makes sense. It shortens, it turns my leg out. It also moves the thigh into abduction, right? If I tightens, it pulls my leg into the midline. But one of the things I don't think that's talked about, and we miss a lot if we don't use it as a stabilizer, it can be a pelvis stabilizer. Every time that one takes a step, and that's 80%, lifts the leg, sorry, when you're walking, and that's 80% of the time when you're walking, right? We want the pelvis to have some stabilization. And if it doesn't, say the piriformis isn't working, and we end up with that pelvis just kind of moving all over and having no stabilization, you can imagine that it starts to compress the low back and cause low back pain. You can imagine that if I walk with my feet turned out, which I don't know, probably like 75% of the people I've ever worked with do, probably more like 80, 85. There's that compression that moves in. Maybe these muscles get really tight, they start to pinch nerves, etc. So even if you don't have that going on, pay attention and work with it so you never do, right? We're going to start with a strap. You'll need 2 blocks and a strap today, lying down on the back. So I could keep going on and on about it, but rather than me lecturing, let's get experiential. So as you lie down on your back, you're just going to have your feet on the ground, feet about hip distance, knees hip distance, hips hip distance, and just pause. So you might need a little muscular action to keep the legs here instead of falling in or out, but use minimal amount that you need. And then go ahead and if you were to release your muscles, what way would your legs start to go? Most of us, the knees are probably going to move out away from each other, right? Some of us, the knees will fall in more like knock knee. Now go ahead and extend your legs all the way out. And when you soften the hips, right in the joints, notice what happens with your feet. For most of us, the right foot will fall out to the right, the left foot will fall out to the left. A very few of us might have the knees and toes moving in pigeon-toed and knock knee. Okay, so you can imagine that when they're in this position, this soft external rotation, the piriformis is shortened on both sides. Go ahead and put the feet on the ground with the knees bent. You're going to bring that right leg in. Strap around the heel. And like, if you can, look at what I'm doing. I'm on the very back of my heel, like crazy, crazy back of my heel. And then I straighten my leg up. Please don't straighten your left leg, at least not yet. When I have slack in my pelvis, I can move the pelvis, or slack in my knees, I can move my pelvis. So I'm going to move my right thigh forward. I might poke my right thumb in there and push it forward. That was last week's work, right? And then I'm going to have one strap in each hand. And I'm going to pull down more on that right side. And I'm going to try to pull my right heel down into the socket. So the whole heel is coming down the whole leg, right? But I'm pulling a little more on the right outer heel. And in doing so, that femur hopefully dropping in the socket, and we might start to feel the piriformis, right? Now keep that, the outer heel, right heel moving down, and go ahead and see if you can get your pinky toe edge to move up to the ceiling a little bit. Super fine-tune things, but hopefully these little fine-tuning motions will get us into that deep muscle. Now, one more piece, keep everything we've done. Maybe the leg moves over to the left about an inch, maybe 2 inches. Don't go too far. No further than your belly button, right? And I'm still pulling my outer right heel down. I'm still reaching my right pinky toe side up. Come back to center. Go ahead and release that and bring the right foot down. And then just take a moment and notice the experience in the right hip and around it, low back, right? And notice the left side. And then again, today we're going to try to get the heel, the very back, bickety, bickety back of the heel. And then push that heel up. Please leave the right knee bent today. You can put both straps in the right hand, and that left thumb is going to push that thigh forward. Again, we're going to get that space around that left hip joint. That was last week's work. One strap in each hand, elbows a little bent wide, and then I'm going to pull more on my left outer heel. So my left side pulls down just a little more than my right. Keep that, don't lose that. Go ahead and see if you can get your pinky toe to move up towards the ceiling, even as you pull your outer left hip down. Breathe. Move the leg maybe over, maybe above the belly button at the most. Again, an inch or two. Don't go too far with this. And definitely don't let the hip lift up, right? Keep that hip uber grounded, especially that outer left hip. Come back to center, release the strap, release the foot down. I forgot to tell you to have a block where you can grab it from the floor. So you're going to take that block and you're going to wrap your strap around it. And you want it to be about in the middle so you have slack on each side of the strap to grab. You need a decent length. So I'm going to hold the strap and the block and I'm going to put my right foot on it. And I'm going to work really slowly and carefully at pushing that right foot back up. Left foot's going to stay on the ground for now. Go ahead and move that right thigh forward like you had the thumb in the hip crease, right? Get nice and long, nice and neutral. And then from there, we've got that block. So I'm not going to pull down too hard on it or I'm just like fighting and moving all over. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So find just enough pressure that you can push through the ball onto the big toe, the pinky toe, and the very center of the heel. And then see if you can't imagine, if you will, that that block is pulling that outer right heel down, femur bone dropping into the socket. Push the pinky toe edge up into that block. So same idea, but you might find something else here. Maybe, maybe not. Move the foot over and try to keep the block parallel to the ceiling, right? So that means I'm going to push a little more through my ball on my big toe and pull my pinky toe edge back down. Come back to center. Now I think it's easiest to switch to the left side to bring my left foot up there and just slowly move that over until I have my left foot square on that block. Then bring the right foot down. Please don't straighten the leg today. Imagine the left thumb in the hip crease pushing the left thigh forward, right? Imagine, if you will, right, a little bit of pressure on the block, but not too much, that I'm pulling that block down into the outer left heel. That outer left heel is dropping the femur into the socket, pushing a little bit through that pinky edge. And as I move the left leg over to the right, again, I'm going to try to keep my foot and the block parallel to the ceiling this time. Breathe. Come back to center. You're going to bend that knee, get that, put both straps in one hand to grab the block. Don't hurt yourself, for goodness sake. And then we're going to do a quick windshield wiper. I'm just adding that in last second. And then after you've done that a couple of times, go ahead and come on up to hands and knees. Feel free to pad your knees here. This is a much thicker mat, so I don't necessarily need to on this one, but I think I'm going to anyway. I'm trying to really be gingerly with my knees, so I have them the rest of my life. But you know what's funny? So many of my knee issues, when they do get sensitive, almost always the hips. So I'm on hands and knees, and I've got my hands on blocks. Actually, I take that back. I apologize. Put them off to the side. We're going to come to them in a second. So I'm hands and knees. Sensitive wrist friends, remember you can bring forearms down onto the blocks if they're stable, right? And then move into an out of cat, in and out of a cat cow. or two, just so you feel the two extremes, and then come right into the center where you've got that long spine. Now, you wouldn't move back if we did this, right? But if I came and I put my hands on your thigh bones and I pulled your thigh bones back and you reached your chest forward in opposition to that, your spine would get longer. Find the low belly and all the bits and pieces. Curl the right toes under. Now, without your right pelvis moving, the pelvis, go ahead and slide your right heel back until the right leg is straight. Push that left shin down. Without the right hip lifting, lift the right leg hip height, no higher. Go ahead and turn your right toes out to the right without your hip lifting, and then come back down with the toes. Turn them out. Do this a couple of times, and I'm just pointing out that it might be helpful to put a block, like I'm doing right now, on the pelvis, since you don't have me there watching your hip. Move slow. Right, so every time you turn the toes out, the piriformis is shortening. Every time you turn the toes down, the piriformis is coming into its longer length. Not longer, but natural, neutral. Bring that right knee down. Feel free to leave the block or put a block up there. Get really long. Imagine me pulling the thighs back and you're reaching the chest forward. So your body didn't move forward or back, it just got longer. Curl your left toes under and start to slide the left heel back till the left leg is straight. Solidify and turn on your stabilizers. Without your left hip lifting, lift the left leg to hip height, right? So slowly. Turn your left toes out to the left. Don't let your left hip lift. Turn the toes back down. Turn the toes out. So do this a few times. And a suggestion, if you don't have someone to look at it and make sure that your hip's not lifting, use the block. A, B, videotape yourself, right? And have it on the left side of your body so you can see if your left hip is lifting. And then bring that knee down. Child pose for just a moment. Most people don't have a lot of felt sense and awareness in the pelvis and the hips, and or they feel like, oh, but it is neutral, and I'm looking at it going, actually it's not. But that's their interoceptive sense. It's not like you are wrong. But we can try to retrain that, right? Let your hips sway a little bit, right center, left center, because we want to be able to feel what our body is doing and know the patterns that it's doing, right? Come into downward facing dog. Bend the knees right off the bat. Imagine my hands and your thighs, pulling your thigh bones up and back. Push your hands forward in opposition, right, and down. Now, keeping that, try to start to reach your heels down towards the ground. Take a breath. Walk your hands back. And I'm sorry, I said you need two blocks and a strap. Find a blanket if you can or something you can use for it. And you're going to roll it up. If you can't get your heels very near to the ground, keeping your long spine in downward dog, it would be a bigger roll, maybe a little less if you have a little more flexibility that way. And then you're going to put your heels on that blanket, but my ball mounts, my toes are very squarely on my mat, right? I'm going to keep my heels uber grounded, and I'm going to start to walk my hands forward. And then when I get into my downward dog, bend the knees for a bit, even if the heels come off the blanket, it's okay. Imagine the thighs being pulled while you push the hands down forward. And now start to push the heels down and make sure you have enough height. You can really push into the blanket. Push more through your outer heels, outer heels, outer heels, outer heels. Maybe even pick your toes and ball mounds of your toes up. Your heels are pushing so much. And come down into hands and knees. Cat cow. Fine, or whatever you need. Just take a little release for a second. Okay. Go ahead and move that blanket off of your mat. And you're going to walk your feet to the front of your mat. Have the blocks underneath you so that your wrists are on your shoulders, your heels are underneath your hips, right? Lengthen the spine, the thighs moving back, crown of the head forward. Turn on the stabilizers you know about. We'll get into piriformis more and more. And then we're going to kickstand the right leg, I call it. My toes are on the ground, but I'm not lifting the weight of the leg yet. But it's straight. Push that heel back, chest forward, get long, and then lift the leg, not the hip. Don't let the hip lift. You can look back and make sure your toes are pointing down. That usually helps that. Either put or imagine your left thumb in your hip crease. Push the left hip back. The left knee is still bent, by the way. Keep the left knee bent, knee moving straight forward. Now you can leave the left hand in the hip or put it on the block, but I want you to externally rotate the right thigh. Right toes point out to the right. Don't let your right hip lift. You can even put your left hand, the back of your fingers on the hip. Go ahead and turn the toes back down and then externally rotate. And we're going to come into warrior one from here. So go ahead and start to rock back and bring that right foot down in that external rotation you were just holding. And let that be where the foot placement is today, right? The rotation of the thigh. Now bend the left knee a little, not too much. Pitch the body forward, pardon me, until you basically have Tadasana with your right leg and your upper body. So you're in a really strong weight line and push that outermost right heel we were tugging on earlier. Push that outermost right heel down, 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 down. Now hold the frontal hip points up and that buttocks flesh moving down to lift. Maybe the arms reach up. Hands on elbow points, pulling elbow points up. Get long in that low back. Warrior one can be a pretty infamous low back compressor, right? And taking away space in the hips, crimping, pinching. Reach the fingertips up, and then bring the hands down. Step forward, get your hands on the block, right foot next to left. So imagine you're in something like hands and knees. The knees are bent, longest spine ever, thighs back, crown of the head forward, da 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 da. Right? Now pay attention. Mind's eye is in my pelvis, particularly the left side right now. As I kickstand my left leg, I don't let my left hip lift, and I find all my deepest stabilizers. Lift the left leg to the height of the hip-ish, and now externally rotate the left toes out to the left without your hip moving and down. And of course, we're not externally rotating the toes. We're the femur bone, right? Externally rotate the femur. That's shortening the piriformis. Now turn the toes down. Turn them out one more time. And now we transition. We're going to step that left foot back and down. Reach the arms forward and up. Right? You can bring the hands to the hips for a second. Pitch forward just a little bit till you have that long line, left heel through crown of head. And push more through the outerest, most leftist heelist ish. And as you push that down, get long, stabilize. Pardon me. Move the buttocks flesh down and the frontal hip points up. Maybe those arms reach up and you grab other form in front. Pull the elbow flesh and get long in that low back, side waist. Maybe extend the arms. Warrior one. Hopefully, if that outer left heel is still pushing down, with the pelvis stabilized with the piriformis. And go ahead and just simply step forward to the top of your mat. So we've got two more things here, just so you can try to get a felt sense of it. It's really hard for some people to feel it in their body when it's contracting and letting go. But our thumbs might be able to feel it through some other tissues. So I'm standing with my feet hip distance. Sorry, my back is turned towards you. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to shift my weight in my heels in general. These are my ad-sits bones. If I follow the upper rim of the pelvis, I'm dropping down with my thumbs till I'm in kind of that meaty part of the back of the buttocks. Somewhere around there. If you're not feeling it when we do this, feel free to move your thumb around, come in and out and try to find it, right? So from there, I'm going to put my weight in my heels in general, right? And then from there, I'm going to shift into my outer rightest, mostest heel. Hopefully that's getting familiar. Bend the left knee. Before you lift that leg up, and you don't ever have to, of course, hug the glute in and pay attention to the right thumb, the muscle underneath the right thumb, right? With the weight in the back right heel, when I go to lift my left leg, I might feel that muscle contract under my right thumb and put that foot down. But we're not turning the leg out, right? So I'm in a neutral rotation, knees pointing forward. I'm going to shift my weight into my heels in general, and then my outer left heel as my whole body shifts slightly. Bend the right knee. Again, bring your awareness under the left thumb. And as you start to lift the weight of that right leg, can you feel that muscle underneath your left thumb engaging? And bring that down and release. So we're not going to go into it today because it's a shorter sequence, but when you're doing any kind of balancing posture, but every time you take a step, right? Maybe paying attention to where your heels are when you're walking and trying to find that pressure into the heels, the knees, moving straight forward when you're walking. Play with it, right? Especially my friends who are suffering. Coming down to your buttocks. Feel free to use height under the buttocks or not. We're going to do, it's one thing, but it's a progression. So legs are straight out in front of you. Right heel comes up, and I might even pull that ankle a little closer. Don't go crazy so your whole spine is rounded and flexion, right? Pull against the leg, up by the, my gosh, by the knee to get nice long. I just had lunch not long ago. Go ahead and left hand outside right leg. I hope I said your right leg is in. Oh, I don't even know what I said. You're going to bring the right fingertips behind you. Pull that leg just a little bit toward the midline, not much. And then push your hand and your leg, left hand, into each other and twist. And let it be a lot less about the twist and a lot more about that outer right hip. We'll get into it in more depth in a second. Couple of options for the next piece. We're all going to move our left heel over and step our right foot outside and try to bring that leg over like the heel, left heel. No, your right heel was moving towards your left hip. Work this leg, don't lock out the knee. And if you have the ability in your body, you're going to lean to the left and bend that right knee as well. Both heels moving towards opposite hips. Right? Now bring your right hand in your hip because that one really wants to come up to the shoulder. And I don't think you're getting a lot of benefit if you do a pretzel if you're doing this with your spine and your pelvis. So move that right buttocks down. So you might release and leave that bottom leg straight, that left leg, right? Bring your fingertips next to you, push them down, and let your spine get longer. Now today I'm going to ask you not to round for specific reasons. You know me. You're going to push a little back to reach your chest a little forward and up and keep sinking the right buttocks down, right buttocks down, right buttocks bone down, right buttocks bone down. Maybe my hands come forward, but again, don't round today. I'm going to traction my hands back to try to reach my chest forward and up and lengthen my spine. And I'm going to try to really sink both buttocks bones, but particularly the right one. And go ahead and come on up. Whew, let those legs come on out. So we're going to take the right leg across the way. We're going to step the left leg over and try to bring that heel towards the buttocks-ish. We're all a little different depending on joints. You might just do this, working that bottom leg. You might lean right and bring that knee in and stack. Again, this is, I call it this hip hop pose, right? So you're going to move that hip down, sit higher on something if you can't, release the bottom leg back out to straight slightly across the way, right? As I push that down, I'm going to bring my fingertips back and get long. Try to find a neutral spine, a really neutral pelvis, sorry, and a really elongated spine. Again, I'm going to push my hands, my fingers back to reach my chest forward and up. And today we're not rounding. Bring the hands forward, maybe, maybe not. Pull back, traction back, and lengthen the spine, right? But keep those buttocks bones grounding, particularly on the left one. And inhale, come on up. If cross-legged is available, take that. I'm going to go to kneeling because this is better in my pelvis. Find that longest spine ever. Buttocks bones down. So we've been playing with this stuff lately, right? Hug the outer hips in ever so slightly. And without getting really like grabby and like pulling the buttocks in and compressing, just hug gently those outer hips in. Right? And without a lot of engagement, again, just remember where your thumbs were on the back side and just think about the piriformis, just the slightest engagement. Not, we don't want the legs to pull out to the right and the left. Notice what you notice in your body, the effects of the practice. Did you push yourself too far? Was there a move that maybe you shouldn't have done? And don't be hard on yourself. Just notice that so you take care of yourself. Namaste, friends. I hope this really helps you just figure out the puzzle of the hips. And again, even if you don't have a ton of issues there, um, don't ever get them. This kind of work helps that. I do believe that to be true. Thank you, friends. Have a great day, and may all beings everywhere be well, no exceptions.